Hello, welcome to the show. It's the Money and Market Show, and I'm Charles Boyd, your host. Now, let's start off from Kenya, where for the first time, Equity Bank has overtaken Safaricom as the market's most valuable company. And those who did the survey are actually looking at aspects such as the perception of consumers towards the services offered by this company. And they're looking at aspects like familiarity, consideration, and recommendation. Now, Brand Finance, in its annual Global 500 ranking report, is actually valuing Equity Bank at about $450 million US. Now, we'll be diving into details of that story in our subsequent shows. Once again, it's Money and Markets. We're glad you're watching. COMESA, the regional bloc that brings together 21 countries from Tunis to Eswatini in Southern Africa, is today celebrating 30 years. Now, over this period, a lot of achievements have been attained. And in this segment, we managed to get an interface with the Secretary General of COMESA to find out which boxes have been ticked in the 30-year journey. Your Excellency, it's very nice to have you on the show, Money and Markets. You're most welcome. Now, for starters, give us a digest about COMESA and then its mandate.
Well, COMESA is a regional economic community with 21 member states, as far north as Tunisia and as far south as Eswatini. So it's a wide footprint on the continent. We have members on mainland, we have island states. Therefore, it's quite a mix of economies and size of member states. We have a population of over 660 million people, so it's a big market that it brings to member states. It's a wide area of more than 12 million square kilometers, so you can just imagine the size. And a combined GDP of over $1 billion US. So it brings to member states a huge market, and also our mandate is really to support regional integration of our member states. So instead of trying to trade individually or bilaterally, we bring integration, which supports harmonization of trade policies, therefore making doing business much easier, much smoother, having seamless movements of goods and people. That is the overall objective. And ultimately to support our member states to transform their economies and uplift the living standards of their citizens.
Now, we live in a digital era, and a number of businesses are adopting, digital technologies in transactions. Is COMESA adopting?
Yes, I think we definitely believe in leveraging technology to support, especially the trade facilitation element of what we do. We talk to, for example, 3 specific areas, which is in our digital free trade area. We want to develop e-commerce, which means moving towards trading online using platforms, which really brings the region together in terms of distance is collapsed. If you can sit in Eswatini and see what's on sale in another part of the region. So that's the e-commerce aspect that we're trying to support. Then we also have linked to that what we call e-logistics, which is when you're moving your goods from point A to point B. You don't have to rely on physical paperwork, for example. One of the critical elements when you trade within the region is a certificate of origin to prove that your goods are originating from COMESA to attract the free duty status. So that is that certificate of origin, for example, we are migrating it to an e-certificate of origin. So it will be a soft copy, it won't be a hard copy. So these are just some of the examples where we're trying to move in terms of e-logistics, which support trade. The third part will be e-legislation, because as soon as you move into paperless, you must have a set of rules that govern that. Do you accept my digital signatures, for example, on a certificate? Those are the things that we are now looking at, making sure that they're moving in tandem. As we take advantage or leverage on technology, we're also moving in line in supporting our member states.
I know that COMESA is quite passionate about the regional food balance sheet. Now, shed more light about this and how it is set to benefit member countries.
Okay, the regional food balance sheet is actually a tool that can be used to support a better information system for member states in what is being grown, the products are growing, where, when they'll be ready for harvest, the volumes. So it's a tool that we have developed with support of other developing partners who are supporting us to really, we have started with 6 pilot countries, of which Uganda is one. And we have looked at a limited number of products for now, so that you can tell, have that information ready available, that in 6 months there will be this amount of tonnage of products which will be available, for example, in Uganda, or it will be available in Zambia or Kenya or whatever. The other element to that is it also is a way of attracting investment in the agricultural sector. Because if they have information that I'll be able to store this kind of tonnage, let me then invest, in logistics like warehouses and cold rooms and other amenities which support the storage of produce. It's a much more focused and logical way to invest than to just hope that I'll build a warehouse and it will be filled hopefully by somebody's produce. So again, it supports that aspect, and as you know, post-harvest losses are quite high. In some products, up to about 30% is lost because we can't manage the produce after it. Where do we store it? How do we keep it safe? Is it stored in such a way that it won't deteriorate? So these are all areas that we think that food balance sheet would really help.
Now, for Uganda, you've been key in supporting trade facilitation initiatives and policies, like the Competition Act and, of course, the Leather Institute. Are these delivering the set objectives? And what are some of these objectives?
Yes, I think the food balance sheet is a starting point. As I said, it will give direction on where to invest, what type of investment, what type of storage are we talking about. Are we talking about many stations which are then amalgamated into one central place? So these are the kind of information that we can help to give to would-be investors, and that will go a long way in supporting post-harvest management, which is a huge problem at the moment.
Now, post-harvest handling losses are a challenge to a number of member states. What is COMESA's plan?
Yes, the push is our overall objective, which is to increase intra-COMESA trade. And so we will come and bring as much facilitation as we can. One of the things that we do, of course, is harmonization of trade policies, trade regulations. The more harmonized the countries are, the easier to be to trade amongst ourselves. So you're not dealing with a different set of rules once you cross your border, but you are using the same rules across. Now, competition, of course, is an important aspect when it comes to trade. It also affects consumer protection, because the competition is also looking at consumer protection. So we have come in to help Uganda to develop this, because we do have what we call the COMESA Competition Commission, which is a regional body. It's a COMESA regional body which looks at issues of competition and consumer protection. And we realized that Uganda was slightly behind in terms of that kind of regulation and framework of how it's done in other countries. And of course, through our competition commission, they were able to come and give that technical support to help Uganda to develop that act, which will overall then protect the trading place and how people can trade fairly amongst themselves, and also of course protect the consumer. The other one on the leather and leather products is we do also have another COMESA institution. COMESA is unique in that we have institutions which are in the market directly. Some are regulators, some policy supporters, some are actual players, but in the different sectors. And the two I'm talking about are just 2 of the 11 institutions that we have. So this one on leather and leather products it's actually designed to be a center of excellence in leather and leather products. So we support member states from policy levels. What kind of strategy do you want to have in your leather sector? What kind of training, what kind of capacity building do you need? So we come in to support the country.
On the energy side, of course, all the activities you mentioned need power. And today we're talking about renewable energy, especially in the face of climate change. Does COMESA have a plan as regards renewable energy?
Yes, for renewable energy becomes very important, as you have said, in view of climate change and the effects of that. Secondly, we talk about value addition, and we find that in most of our countries we do have remote areas which are off-grid. They're not on the main electricity supply, so they would need some kind of energy to support their production of goods or whatever value addition processes they want to, to enter into. So we do have a particular project which is supported by the World Bank. They have put in a funding of $435 million US across the countries, of course, across the 21. But this one is geared in to support private sector participation. So we on one side there's a capacity building for the regulation side. How do you regulate this renewable energy? How is it sold? What are the tariffs? Who is going to invest and where? And then on the other side is the actual funding to private sector who will come up and say, I am willing to set up or to invest.
Now, COMESA is celebrating 30 years. What are the main highlights?
We have a huge mandate as COMESA and a huge membership and population. Of course, we established the free trade area 2009. I think for us that was a big milestone, because we want to have our member states able to trade freely amongst themselves. And I think the other things that we've done is support our member states, especially in harmonization of regulations.